Hello and welcome to the Half in the Bag commentary track for Alien vs. Predator, the hit film from 2004.
The movie that underwhelmed audiences everywhere. So this opening, a lot of these opening scenes kind of made me think of a Roland Emmerich movie, where you see all the different people in different parts of the world, and there's the shot of all the satellites.
Yeah.
She's the hero.
That's right. Yeah,
she's the hero. That's it.
Yeah, but there is no attempt to establish like any kind of character arc.
There's no character.
Although you could say, like Ripley in the first Alien movie, what do we really know about her when that starts?
That's true. That's true.
How did she not notice that helicopter landing?
Or the fact that the guy was talking to her, like, and she could hear him because he's right above her, not just on the phone. It is a very Roland Emmerich feel at first.
But this movie is not as bad as a Roland Emmerich movie. Believe it or not, it's not as dumb.
It's yeah, I suppose. This
movie, I mean, you know, it's not a work of art, but it's pretty straightforward. It's Alien versus Predator porn, basically. It's sci-fi porn, right?
Yeah, it doesn't go far enough with that though. Like when you watch a porn, like you want to see some fucking in the first 10 minutes.
No, I disagree.
Oh no, I actually like the fact that they take their time to build things up. But I'm just saying if you're using porn as an analogy. But I'm thinking like this was 2004 this was made.
Yeah.
And like the way these types of movies are executed now is so much different than just 10 years ago. Like if this was made now, I'm thinking of like the Evil Dead remake, where it's like you can't slowly build things up and have things escalate in terror or in action or in horror or whatever it is. Yeah. You got to have like that opening scene of the Evil Dead remake. It's like possessed lady, swearing, head explosion like immediately. Yeah. If this was made today, you'd have like a 10-minute Alien versus Predator brawl right away.
Right. Well, this movie follows the basic rule of don't show your monster until 30 minutes in, until the end of the first act, which is always nice because you show the aliens or the monsters right off the bat. You know, the build-up is gone.
But wouldn't that have worked better though if we got to know these characters better in that time?
The human characters?
Yeah.
Well,
that's in theory. That's what these scenes are. These are character-building scenes. Unfortunately, there are no characters. Oh, and here we have Wayland explaining the mission to him, and it's just like Prometheus.
Yeah,
oddly enough.
There are a lot of similarities.
You have your band of characters, and then Wayland shows up and explains everything.
Yeah, except they're facing the other way in Prometheus.
Oh.
And Wayland was a hologram.
Okay.
There's some subtle differences. And also, Wayland was not Lance Henriksen.
No. Well, I think this is weird that Lance Henriksen is... I think they showed that magazine cover, and his middle name is Bishop. And it's like, okay, I get it.
Oh, yeah.
But another Wayland, an ancestor of this, shows up in Alien 3.
Right.
And he looks exactly the same.
Well, that's Lance Henriksen in Alien 3.
Yeah.
Who's not Wayland?
He's Wayland. He's Michael Wayland. He's an ancestor.
Oh,
but it's a pretty big coincidence that generations apart, two people would look completely identical.
There are at least 3 Lance Hendricksons in the Alien saga. At least.
He's cheap.
The only reason he's in this is connection to Alien series.
Right.
He's all they got, aside from the aliens themselves.
And he could sort of say sentences. Oh no, I like him as an actor. I'm saying this, he's just phoning it in.
Oh,
he doesn't
sure.
give flying crap about anything. So why are we doing a commentary track on this film? I don't know. I've never seen it before.
Well, I think it's safe to say we're all fans of the Alien and Predator series, right?
Yeah. Well, both of you guys saw this movie when it came out in the theaters, right?
Yes.
Or did you watch it on DVD or...
I saw this in the theater.
You paid money to see this in the theater?
Yeah.
I took my little brother to see it in the theater.
Rich Evans, did you go by yourself in a trench coat and sunglasses?
I don't remember who the fuck I saw this with. It may have been nobody. It may have been, well, what the fuck else am I going to do tonight? I'll just go see Aliens versus Predator.
This is the ultimate what else am I going to do movie. Like, there's absolutely nothing else on, I guess. Well, that's the interesting thing. I was looking up information on this movie, and because I was curious, the first time we watched it, I was trying to remember which came first, this or Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
And Freddy versus Jason was 2003. So a year before this, and that movie just made a ton of money, which I think kind of surprised a lot of people, but it was a big hit. And
why would that surprise a lot of people? Everyone wanted to see Freddy versus Jason.
Well, 10 years earlier.
10 years earlier, sure.
But yeah, so apparently at the same time that movie was being made, Freddy vs. Jason, James Cameron was putting together a script for a 5th Alien movie that Sigourney Weaver was attached to be in, and Ridley Scott was interested in directing. And then,
oh no!
And then Freddy vs. Jason was a big hit, and 20th Century Fox decided that they were going to abandon the James Cameron Ridley Scott movie.
Oh no!
And slap together Alien vs. Predator. This movie had a 2-month shoot and 4-month post-production, and then it was quickly rushed into theaters.
That is the most depressing thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I went from being ambivalent about this movie, now I hate it.
Yeah, I'm just guessing the connection between Freddy vs. Jason coming out and this coming out less than a year later, but there was, before this existed, there was talk of a James Cameron, Ridley Scott new Alien movie.
Oh!
I didn't know that. That, like I was going to say, if this came out in 2004 and Freddy vs. Jason was 2003, this was probably in production, and
nope.
Wow.
So thank you, 20th Century Fox. Although, you know what? I'm sure that decision was a creative decision and not a financial one.
Well, there was an artistic decision. There was someone who just had this story that they wanted to tell.
About Alien versus Predator.
Aliens versus Predators.
Apparently, they were going to possibly make an Alien versus Predator before they went and did Alien Resurrection, too. There's a wonderful interview with Sigourney Weaver talking about that, where she wasn't sure if she wanted to come back to the Alien series, but then she found out that they wanted to make that, and she said that idea sounded awful, to quote Sigourney Weaver. So that's the reason she pushed for doing Alien Resurrection instead.
Yeah.
Which, whatever you can say about that movie, it's a little more interesting than this.
Yeah.
The problem is it's a movie with no one to root for and nothing to care about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like this woman right here is our main character. For one, I don't even remember her name. And we just watched this last night. I don't remember her name. And her only character is that she's a black woman.
Yeah, this is their little team that goes on this expedition. It's a multiracial, multicultural group, and that's their only trait, each of them. Here's the Italian guy.
Yeah.
Here's Spud from Trainspotting.
Yeah, there's no looming threat of any kind. There's no
when I think of
terror or fear. Or
when I think
like
of not that the Predator had a long-lasting legacy. There's the first movie and then a sequel that a lot of people don't like, and then
I didn't mind the sequel.
I think the second one's okay, but the first one's just so unique. It works as its own movie, where it starts as one thing and becomes something else. And then when I think of the Alien series, I think of more sort of atmospheric, brooding. Aliens is more action, but they're more about the atmosphere than anything else. And, and this is just,
CJ, you're a horror fan. That's why you like the first Alien.
I prefer Alien over Aliens.
I prefer science fiction, action-y kind of things.
Yeah.
So I prefer the second one.
Yeah. Both good movies.
Both fine movies. They're both great movies. They just do entirely different things.
Yeah.
And that's good.
That is good.
I mean, Predator 2 was Predator 1, but in the city.
But in the city.
It's like the Crocodile Dundee sequel.
Crocodile Dundee versus Predator?
Maybe
we'll get
I'd
that
watch.
someday. Yeah.
He'd say, "You call that a knife?" Oh, I guess you do.
I was reading. I heard like a synopsis. I don't remember any of the details, but it was like the original script for Aliens 3 or one of them. The ending was 20 queen aliens versus 20 power suits.
Oh, Jesus.
It's like they just took the ending of the first Alien, or the second Alien movie, and they just multiplied it by 20.
Yeah.
An original script?
It was like it was gonna be Michael Bain was gonna be the star. It was gonna be Hicks.
Bean.
Okay.
And I don't remember any of the details. I just remember laughing when I heard that the ending was going to be 20 queen aliens.
Oh, Jesus.
Versus
Yeah, that sounds like
20
something
of those power loader suits.
That sounds like the dumbest idea.
It sounds like something they would think of right after Aliens was a big hit. Like that's the first thought is to do something like that.
We have to do this bigger.
But instead, they decided to go with a third movie that nobody involved with was terribly satisfied with. Although I like that third movie. I like it more than Aliens.
Yeah, it's
flawed,
it's a good
but
movie. It's a good movie. It's very depressing.
That's why obviously. I like it. I think it's a good. Like I think of when I think of the Alien series, I think of those three movies. Alien Resurrection is like an afterthought, but I mean the third one ends with Ripley, and that feels like a closure to the whole series.
Oh sure, yeah. That movie, people wanted it to be something different.
Yeah.
And when I saw it too, I felt the same way. You know, you don't want Ripley to die in the end.
Yeah.
You don't want Newt and Hicks to be dead.
In the opening credits.
In the opening credits, like you want like, Aliens is the only one with like a happy ending.
Yeah.
You know. and those movies shouldn't have happy endings. They should be misery and depressing, because that's what it is.
But that's what threw people off. I mean, the third one's so much closer in tone and spirit to the first movie, but everybody loves the action and the corny one-liners of Aliens. So when you go back to something a little more depressing, people are like, what is this?
Yeah. But who's right?
They haven't known what to do with the franchise since.
No.
They don't know what to do with it.
It shouldn't be a franchise. I think that's part of it. Same with Predator.
Yeah.
They work as standalone movies. Aliens was like a fluke. It was so different that it works as its own movie.
Gotta keep cashing this check, Jay.
Yeah. It's not like either series has this interesting mythology and depth to it.
No, they
Aliens are just animals.
This.
Yeah.
Basically, they're just animals. That's it.
Well, not really though. They like Alien established them as a space traveling civilization. Like they had spaceships, right?
I thought there was some other spaceship.
Was it their home planet? I mean, Prometheus went and fucked everything up because they established that the thing in the chair was not an alien, but it was a big blue bodybuilder.
It was a different race, yeah.
But in Alien, you know, you get the impression that that's their ship, right?
It's been a long-ass time since I've seen the movie, but
I never really got the impression that.
My impression was that it was some other alien, you know, the big alien thing was their ship, and they got infested with the aliens, and they ended up crashing on that planet.
This is where the movie gets exciting, in theory.
Now, if the old Aztec culture was willing to sacrifice themselves, why build the temple in a maze trap?
I have a theory about the... I do have a theory about the transforming temple.
Yeah.
I think this is something the Predators have developed just to make their alien hunt more interesting.
Again, though, when it's been established in the other movies that they just like go into the woods and hunt people or go to a city and run around.
You know, this is a different type of hunting trip for them.
Okay. This is like the big one that they build up to all year.
Yes.
Okay, so here's my question.
Yeah.
It says the Predators come back every 100 years, right? It does say that.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the film.
Does it say 100 or is it like 1,000?
100.
100? Okay.
Is it a complete coincidence that there happens to be a polar expedition team inside the temple when they come back?
They say something about the heat flare they got was to draw humans there.
Okay.
There is some bullshit line about that, yeah.
So in 1904, when they came back, did people also climb down into is that the whaling station? Is that why the whaling station's there?
I don't know. You know, that could be. That could be. Maybe there is a point to the whaling station.
We're not giving this movie enough credit.
What about 1804?
There's got to be at least one time in one of those 100-year stretches where the Predators come down and they're like, oh, there's no one here.
Nobody here.
I have to go now.
The Predators went back to their home planet. Because it seems a little convoluted, you know?
Just a little bit, yeah. It's almost like they're trying to shoehorn a story where there isn't.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to fill most of the movie with nonsensical plot in order to
pad it out to a feature film.
To have a movie where aliens fight predators, right? It's the Aztec calendar.
Sure,
okay. Wait.
Do they really need people? Why can't they just like go out into the jungle, capture a few bears, throw the bears down into the temple, and then let the bears get impregnated by aliens? Then they get to fight alien bears.
That would be great.
It's established that the alien parasite can host in anything, right?
Yeah, and it adapts depending on what animal it's in.
Yeah.
So why not use like a bear or a lion?
I don't know. A lion predator? That'd be, or a lion alien would be interesting.
A alien.
Yeah,
or just abduct 10 humans and bring them aboard your spaceship and just do a thing there. Uh-oh, there's that slime.
There's the slime. We noticed during the opening of this, it says it's rated PG-13 for, what is it?
I have it written down, horror images, slime, and gore.
Okay, so you have to warn your audience about slime.
Yeah.
But
that's the deciding factor if a parent's going to take their kid to see this movie. I don't know. There's a little bit of slime in it.
The Alien versus Predator scenes in this are great.
They're schlock, but they are what they are.
The Predators look a little off. They look a little goofy.
It's so gratuitous when they do have that fight. It feels like a video game, like fighting game, like Mortal Kombat with aliens and Predator.
Yeah. Well, that's the interesting thing is like neither the Predator or the Alien series are about broad, dumb action. So this movie's just taking the most superficial elements of both of those series and turning it into rubber monsters throwing each other around. Yeah, the Predators in this movie are all too big and bulky. They look comical. They've never really looked as good as they do in the first movie.
No.
Well, the one in the first movie.
Yeah, it looks like a guy in a Halloween costume in this.
Yeah.
Like someone at a convention. Like, I made my Predator costume. Isn't that cool?
It's like a cosplay thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad as that. But it's, they should have winter coats on, though. They have their skin exposed and stuff.
That's true. It makes sense when they're in the jungle or in a heat wave in Los Angeles. But...
Right.
Well, later on in this movie, nobody feels cold anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, the end of the movie is our main character. She's just outside in the Arctic, no coat on, and apparently abandoned in the middle of nowhere.
No, they show her next to a little car that's already running.
For some reason. Somehow it's there.
Yeah, I think you would die in like 10 seconds.
It's like minus 50.
Completely exposed in the Arctic. But does it really matter?
Not in this movie, because filmmakers don't care. We don't care. We just got to see things punch each other.
No, this thing is, you recognize this imagery. Here's an alien, here's a predator.
Yeah.
You know these things.
Well, I think it's established that this is the cash grab movie.
Yeah.
But is there any merit to it at all?
Oh.
Nah, not really. No.
I'd say the creature effects.
Yeah.
There's lots of physical creature stuff. There's a couple of shots where you can tell the aliens are CG, but there's actual creatures. It's the same effects group that did all the other Alien movies, and they're shot appropriately. That's the thing. Like, sometimes you can... Like, that's one of the things I didn't like about Aliens is they show them too much where it's very clearly a guy in a suit. Mm-hmm. Like when it sticks more in the shadows, and there's a lot more of that in this.
Yeah, Aliens... they didn't have they look fat in Aliens.
Yeah.
And this, they're more like agile and skinny.
Well, because they had to have like 100 of them on screen at once. That's why. They couldn't take their time framing it up look perfectly, because they got to have 100 of them in the shot.
Well, this was originally it was the Mayans or whoever it was that they had built these temples. They had people that they were willing to offer up sacrifice.
Yeah.
So they sort of had to, the Predators had to kind of change their plan over time, I guess.
Yeah.
When that was no longer the case.
And just kind of like check back every now and then and hope a polar expedition of boring characters
maybe
shows up at your temple.
Yeah.
Maybe on like every planet, like the Predators have like a little temple set up with the population there, and if like there's no humans around this century, well, they just go to the next backwards planet. They go to the globulins.
These Predators have a lot of time on their hands.
Yeah. The Predators are the Klingon contradiction of if you're an advanced species that has developed space travel, you don't act like a barbarian savage. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I can't imagine a Klingon warrior trying to figure out how to make a warp engine. Sitting there with like spectacles on and like working at a computer. It's not the warrior way, nerd. You should be murdering things. I'm trying to develop space travel. Don't waste your time on such things.
Well, do the Predators do anything else with their existence but go to planets and hunt things?
You know,
that's all we've ever seen them do.
We don't know. These could just be like elite rich predators.
It could be an offshoot of their culture.
That's an interesting idea, that they're all like, they're like
weekend warriors.
Yeah.
Literally. there's predators back home. They wear suits.
Yeah. They have desk
jobs.
Monocles. And then on the weekends they go to other planets and hunt
monocles and top hats. They have cocktail parties.
I'm ready for the big hunting trip this weekend. We're going to Alpha Centauri 4.
Make sure you wear your monster costume.
Yeah, these costumes are sort of like a joke to them.
Yeah. It really scares the natives.
Yeah.
It's traditional. We have to wear them.
So, okay, is the predator now caught in his own trap? Like, does he know how to make the temple move around to get out?
No, I don't think he does. I think that he's caught in his own trap.
Well, that's not very smart.
Well, they were supposed to easily get the guns. They didn't anticipate the human beings stealing their guns.
Because they should have a little fail-safe button that says undo the temple thing.
Yeah.
So I can get out. What if he has an asthma attack? Right? And he needs his respirator.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing his jaws during an asthma attack.
Or what if his wife calls about important information about their bank account back on Predator World? Honey, we're victims of ID theft. What?
That running shot.
Yeah.
Not the best.
I think there were even Alien versus Predator action figures, weren't there?
I want an action figure of this character.
We still don't know her name.
We've never been told her name in the entire film.
Look at how emotional she is.
She looks very terrified for her life right here. And I'm sad to see that guy go because he was the Italian guy.
Yeah. Well, that was her potential love interest.
Now her potential love interest is the Predator. Snap that little baby's neck.
He flies and he catches it.
I no longer have sympathy for this Predator. He just killed an infant.
And then here's the inevitable boss fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reoccurring theme of everything's blown up, but the queen made it through and she's going to show up and fight you.
Because you got to fight the queen.
Well, like I said, they're trying to squeeze every possible combination of Alien and Predator, team-ups and fights and everything into this.
Did they do a very, very good job at writing the script then?
If that was all they were trying to accomplish, they got it all in there.
They made their money, so yes.
Yeah. And the famous sled sequence. This is the best part of the movie.
This is, yeah.
What is the silliest thing we can see a Predator do?
Yeah.
Go on a sleigh ride.
If you're just doing a polar expedition, to leave your expedition site at 500 miles an hour. her pseudo-Italian boyfriend died.
If I were here right now, all I'd care about is getting a coat.
Yeah.
She doesn't care about any of these characters, though. She was just hired to do this thing.
Yeah, she doesn't really know any of them.
In love with the guy,
she was hired to get everybody out alive, and she failed miserably.
Yeah, she's bad at her job. That's what we learned from this movie.
She had to shoot a guy in the face before a monster burst out of his chest. I mean, she's going to be in therapy for a while after this. But she does not have any frostbite. So.
See, if I was that lady, I'd be like, those two are fighting each other. I'm going to get out of here now.
Well,
I got out of the temple. I'm off.
To be fair, she knows that this thing has to die, or the aliens might be trapped on Antarctica where they can't hurt the rest of humanity. You know, it might make more eggs that just lie there and freeze.
This is true.
And there's no, conclusion to her character. She doesn't come home and...
Well, you can't have a conclusion to a character that has no character to begin with.
Doesn't reunite with her family.
Is this the least believable thing in the movie? Her standing there without a coat? Can you give me a lift? I don't need a spear. I need a lift.
What am I going to do with this? Bye. Bye. Thanks for all the violence and death. This is the sequel. I'm so sorry that you wasted 2 hours of your life.
Well, you know what? You could have wasted 2 hours of your life just watching Alien versus Predator.
That's true. That's true.
At least you have a slight distraction.
Or you could have been volunteering at the local homeless shelter or helping an elderly woman cross the street. But instead you did this with your life. Thank you, and good night.